Hi guys, welcome to Multiverse. There's a question that comes back from time to time is how can you get amenities for your base? And since we got we're starting to get new bases. We got the new Atlantis base, we got the new Brainiac base. So I've been meaning to make these videos for some times, but I guess today's the day, or at least today we get started. I could make, I guess, one long video with all the amenities. I will split it up with each amenity so that if you're looking for just one specific amenity, you're going to be able to watch a small video. So this will be, I guess, the first in the series of 8. We'll have to wait and see. I'm going to show you how to get the amenities for free, but if you don't want, basically you can just purchase the amenities from the marketplace. Like if you want to purchase the amenities, you can purchase them individually, or there's a few packs you can purchase that contains usually 3 amenities. But if you don't want to spend money to buy the amenities, I will show you how to get it for free. And today I'm going to show you how to get the Soder vendor. In order to get the Soder Cola vendor, you have to gather 10 collections. So basically the collections are Ace Chemical, Safety Inspection, and Fractions. So you have to get the 74A Toxic Chemical Pool, 20L Pipe Leaking Lethal Chemicals, 12A No Eye Washing Stations, 39H Waste Management Violation, 55A Unauthorized Radioactive Materials, 83D Inadequate Wheelchair Access, 95K Improperly Marketed Storage Tanks, 123B Toxic Materials Found in Oceans, 41C Unmarked Emergency Exits, and 7C Exceeds Maximum Toxic Barrel Allocations. So once you gather those 10 collections, you get the amenity by mail. So basically you can have 2 of each amenities if you want to. You can get the ones you can get from collections, and you can get the ones you can purchase from the marketplace if you want to. Why would you want to have 2 amenities? There's a few reasons for that. Like I have a few bases where I have 2 mailboxes. I have a base where I have 2 sparring targets. So depending on what you want, you could decide to have 2 of one amenities. I'm not sure why you would want to have 2 Soder vendor. But again, if you don't want to purchase it on the marketplace, if you gather the 10 collections I showed you, you will get it by mail for free. There is 2 ways to get the collections. You can either purchase them straight from the broker. Some of them can be a little bit expensive. It's been a while since I actually purchased any of those collections, so I won't even try to guess how much they are right now. So either you purchase them from the broker, or you can farm them around Ace Chemicals. I will show you how to farm them around Ace Chemicals. So for those who may not know, this here is Ace Chemicals. So it's pretty much around this area where you can get the collections in order to be able to get the free Soder vendor for your berries. Some of those collections are pretty rare, so you will have to farm for quite a bit before you get all the collections. So you can see here we have one here. Inert chemical residue. And also there is more than just the collections for the Soder vendor in this area. There's a few different collections you can get in this area, so you're not just going to be farming for the Soder vendor collections. If you're not sure where the collections actually spawn, don't hesitate at first to use, I'm not sure if I have any. So we have the radar and answers. It allows you to reveal investigations, briefings, and collections on your minimap for 15 minutes. So I don't usually use it, but let's use it for today. So if you don't know where the collections spawn, you can just use a radar to be able to gather the collections. It makes things a little faster. After a while, once you know where the collections actually are, you can gather them without using the radar. But after a while, you will get to know where the collections are. And you can see on the minimap, you see the integration points. So basically, that's where the collections are. The area is not that big, but sometimes you have to look behind pipes or behind the machinery. So basically, Especially if you have the radar activated, all you really need to do is just fly around Ace Chemicals, and the collections will spawn on your minimap. But again, as you can see, the area is not that big, so after a while you should be able to get the collections. You should be able to farm for the collections even if you don't use the radar. It will take you a while to get all the collections, I can tell you that right now. So don't expect to be doing some farming for just one day and be done with it. The odds are it will take you several days to gather all the collections you need. And it's been a while since I farmed there for these collections, so the radar helps me a little bit as well. But again, after doing this for a while, eventually you won't really need the radar anymore. So basically it is pretty much that simple. You just fly around the Ace Chemicals and you try to gather all the collections you can. And hopefully you will get the collections you need. So obviously the sort of easiest way, if you know how to farm for money, the easiest way is to just purchase the collections from the broker. But if you don't have a lot of money, like a lot of you guys often tell me that you don't have a lot of money in this Universe Online, or you find it hard to make money in this Universe Online. So if you cannot, if you find it difficult to get the money to be able to buy the collections from the broker, or maybe if you're a free to play player and you cannot purchase the collections on the broker, then you have little choice. You have to farm for the collections. But usually with a little time, a lot of patience, you should be able to get all the collections you need eventually. But again, be warned, you could be farming for collections for quite some times. Obviously, if you're doing this with a low-level character, you're going to try to avoid the various NPCs that are in this area. If you're a higher level character, then you won't have no issue defeating the evil clowns or the evil birds who will try to stop you. Obviously, much easier to do this if you're using the radar. But again, as I mentioned, basically when you farm collections, after a while, you get to know where the collections are. If you do this often enough and for a few days, I guarantee you after a couple of times, you will know where the collections are. And worst comes to worst, if somehow you do not know where the collections are, like you somehow cannot learn where the collections are, just use a radar. Like as you saw, I have a stack of it that I accumulated with time. You do get a few radar for free as you level up, but obviously if you want to have more, you're gonna have to purchase more. Oh, yeah, I got too close to the evil goo. There we go. And there's no real, here we go, we got, after a while, you see all the collections we had together before we got our first collection for the Soder vendor. So, don't expect that to be done in like 15 minutes. It will take you quite a while before you get all the collections you need. But after a while, you will know pretty much all the hidden spots where the collections are hiding. And basically what you can do also is the collections you don't need, you sell those on the broker, and hopefully you'll be able to gather the money in order to be able to purchase the collections that you're missing. So you don't have to exclusively farm for collections. You can do you can farm for collections, but those you already have, then you can sell those on the broker and hopefully get the money to purchase those you're still missing. If you're lucky, you will be able to get the rare collections quickly, so it'll make it a bit easier to then purchase the collections you're missing on the broker. If you're not so lucky and don't get the rare collections, then you'll have no choice but to farm and farm and farm until you can get the money to purchase the collections. Like you can see, this is our, I think this is our second collection we got for the Soder vendor. So again, the radars last for 15 minutes. So you just fly around for 15 minutes hoping to get collections. Obviously, it's a lot easier if you're if there's no one else in the area. If you have to compete with other players to get those collections, it can make things a little bit more challenging. Sometimes there's a few here. I guess not today. And after I'm done, once my radar will be expired, I will go and sell the collections that I gathered that I don't need. Obviously, by now I don't have all the collections in the game, but I have a lot of them. So obviously, every collections I'll gather here, I'm going to sell on the broker because I already have them. Or I could decide to give them to another one of my character. So you can see that we can get some collections also from the parking lot. So that's another one for the Soder vendor. So far we got, I think, 3 collections for the Soder vendor. So it's not always like that, but it gives you a rough idea of how many collections you're going to have to farm before you get collections for the Soder vendor. And if you're like me and you find it relaxing to just fly around in this universe online, oh, and also you don't have to exclusively farm for collections. If you see exhibits or other things you need, obviously you can farm for those as well. You can multitask, is what I'm trying to say. You don't have to exclusively farm for collections. You can farm for whatever it is you can get while you farm. So basically, it's not that difficult. It just requires a little luck and a lot of patience. I guess someone who could say it requires a little patience and a lot of luck. I guess it depends on your perspective on that. And after a while, you don't even think about it. You just fly around, relax, and when you see a collection pop, you go get it. Sadly, as you can see, I've already got the briefings and investigations, but you could be farming for those as well if you don't have them already. Oh, my inventory is full, it seems. Sadly, I keep too much crap, so my inventory is pretty full right now. I guess I'm gonna have to purchase more inventory space. Also, before I forget, you can also listen for collections. Like you can hear the collection do make a noise. So sometimes when you fly around, if you don't quite see it, you will still hear it. One trick that I used to do eons ago, I would play without any music. That way, to be sure that I would hear the collections. But nowadays, I don't do that anymore. I just pay a bit more attention, and I can hear the collections even though I'm listening to some music as well. But turning off the music could help you hear the collections from a distance. Personally, I find it a bit relaxing to fly around in DC Universe Online. So that's why whenever I get the chance, like whenever I don't feel like playing missions, sometimes I'll just fly around and gather collections or farm for collections. Of course, at first it may be a bit stressful, especially if you have to compete with against other players to gather those collections. But after a while, it becomes almost second nature. Like I think we have a little friend here who's also farming for collections. So if you're competing with someone else, then there's a little bit of competition that comes into play. But if you're lucky enough to be by yourself and there's no one else competing with you, then it can be a pretty relaxing experience. And usually what I do, I don't usually spend hours and hours just farming for collections. What I usually end up doing is that while I wait for a mission, I'll farm for collections or stuff like that. Like I'll do that while I'm waiting for something else. I don't usually exclusively just look for collections. Oh, our radar is expired, which is as well because we have to go to the broker anyway. So people often ask me, how do you make money in this universe online? Usually that is how. You farm and farm and farm and sell hundreds of collections. It's pretty much that simple. But it is also time consuming, sadly. So you can see some of the collections, like the 74A collection is worth about 280,000. Let's sell it for about 150. As a rule of thumb, I'll ask about 50% of the asking price of the current collections. There are exceptions to that. If there's an old collections that I know that no one is really buying, then I will ask even less than 50%. I might go as low as 25% of the asking price. If I know that it's a pretty recent collection or a collection that's pretty much in demand, then I will ask for 75%, maybe even more. So you can see we got a multiple 74A toxic chemical pool. I'll wait before I put the other one up for sale. So most of the collections were worth around 100,000, 200,000. Some would go as high as 400,000. But of course, the very rare collections, those could be worth even a lot more. So again, often people ask, how do you make money? By selling items on the broker, by selling hundreds and hundreds of items on the broker. And obviously sometimes it doesn't quite work. You get the item back, you put it back for sale, it happens. But basically that is how you make money in this universe online. You sell hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of items on the broker, That is the best way to make money as far as I know. So once you manage to gather all the collections you need, either through farming or from buying them on the broker, you do get a nice Soder vendor for your lair. Obviously, this is the Soder vendor for the Atlantis base. If you want to see what the Soder vendor looks like on the various bases, I made a video for each different bases, so you could go look at those if you want to. So that's going to be pretty much it for now. So basically I will try to make maybe one video for each amenities. The one exception to that is the teleporter. There is no collections for the teleporter or even the armories. If you want to have those, you have to purchase them. So if you want to have the teleporter as an amenity, sadly you have to buy it from the marketplace. As I recall, I think it was about $10 for the teleporter. If you think $10 is too expensive, then wait for a sale and buy it for $5. You decide. And the armories technically are not really amenities, but I thought I would mention them as well. There's no collections to be able to get the armories. You get one free armory once you reach the point where you can have your lair, and then any other armory you want, you have to purchase them. So hopefully it made some sort of sense. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask so in the comment section down below, and I'll see what I can do about answering your questions. So as always, guys, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.